or tried Rite, but it's like it's every time it was tried, it had the same effect, and as if you're any different.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Josh Hogan and Michael Rogers. I know you have some interesting history with that fella.
Yeah.
But they're gonna come on and debate each other.
Nice.
So that'll be a fun time.
That'll be really cool.
Yeah. So we're finally gonna have like an on-air conversation from two different angles, and
that's
I hope Josh can find some more people on that side of the spectrum too, because the reason I bring this up. Well, the thing is, they don't want to talk. Like, this is my point earlier, was that they never take on the invitation to come talk on the podcast. But when Josh finally said, I finally got around to asking Josh, I'll say, and he was like down with it right away, which I figured he would be, which is totally props to him for that. So I'm stoked to come and like, because you remember that cool old show that you sent me links to before, Crossfire or whatever?
Yeah.
We have people from the left and the right and throw some fucking moderators questions and then debate each other and go back and forth.
It's all in good fun.
Yeah, and then they're buddies, and it's like,
yeah,
that's what I think is sick and would be cool to bring back.
It's going to be hard to keep the emotions down with those two guys. I know both those guys, and just to keep it level, you might just have to take a break every 5 minutes or something like that. Just be like, okay, let's just stop talking just for 1 second. Let's just take a couple breaths, because like it's going to get heated. I'd love to. I'll be tuning in for that one.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. Well, if it's just the two of them, I'm gonna just moderate the whole thing.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, for sure.
If Josh can bring someone else, I haven't even messaged him about this. We're planning it for June sometime, so there's lots of time to see how it's gonna pan out. But if he could get a partner, I would love to also engage on one of the sides and then find someone else to moderate. Yeah. But if it's just the two of them, and I think it'd probably be even good practice. Like, I probably should just try to be unbiased and moderate, and like,
especially on something that you feel strongly about.
Yeah,
that's a good position to try and have, because then you can actually try and support the other side, think about their argument, and even come up with questions against your own point of view.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's one of the things that I haven't gotten around to observing personally in Dostoevsky's writing, but he's been recommended to me by Peterson again. He just wrote. He would basically use narrative to parse out deep philosophical conundrums, but he wouldn't make the opponent to his side a weak character in the book. Although he could, he like made them as formidable as an intellectual as possible about their stance, and would try and play out the story and arguments between them, and so he like actively. He's one of the few people, perhaps, that you can find who wrote a lot, who actively went out of his way to undermine his own beliefs as much as possible, with the full intent of finding out if they were faulty or not.
It's so rare to find, ever, because of our egos.
Absolutely.
Get in the way of wanting to be right or whatever, pride.
It's a painful thing to do.
Yeah.
It's like, it's kind of no wonder in some sense, because like, to sit down and actually like write out things you believe, for example, and then try your best to fucking actually smash it, and like, if you happen to smash some like thing that you've been living your life off, like, one of someone who's like one of these money people, for example, and then they actually take the time to analyze in depth this whole value structure, and they smash it to smithereens and see how it doesn't work, and then there's that period of time where you have no value structure to operate in, and you're putting together your whole fucking conceptual framework, and that's gonna be like a depressing, lonely, horrifying time, because like, you feel adrift in like a sea of chaos when your mind can't make any sense of things, and so it kind of makes sense to me that people wouldn't do that naturally, but it's a shame that more wouldn't try. I'm not even convinced that I'm doing everything I could to be doing that. That's for sure.
No. Yeah, sometimes I worry about that with the people that I'm reading the books. Like, maybe I'm just seeking out the information that I want to hear.
Yeah.
I want this to be true, so I heard that's good. I'll listen to that person talk about it.
Yeah.
For a while, everything's biased, but, information it's good. The more you can take in, the more unbiased you can be, hopefully.
And the more you live life, too. I think it's important, because if you are taking in information and then presupposing that you actually are, adjusting your behavior to reflect this new thing you believe. Like, you're testing it out, you're trying it on, and then you go into the world with that, and then see if your life actually starts to work better or not. And then that might be a way of filtering out what is, I don't know, if not true or untrue, at least like practical and functional versus unpractical and dysfunctional.
Do you think the reason me and you search for these sorts of questions is because we question the ones that we were given to begin with?
Well, my question in response to that question is, why would we have ever done that?
Why would we question it?
Why would we ever question it? Why do some people question it, some people don't?
Maybe because we didn't trust our parents.
Well, then that goes even deeper. Like, is that because our parents aren't trustworthy, or is that because we're not smarter than dumb people, or is it because, like, what?
I know.
Is it because we're dumber than smart people?
It just seems like some people accept it and
Are we
some
just
don't.
more skeptical than some people? Is skepticism a different thing from intelligence?
Yeah. I was thinking about this today before he came over, because I talked to my dad for about an hour on the phone today. Call him almost every week, and
Nice.
He wanted to give me, and he used to say this too, I remember him saying it all the time when I was like, at the age of thinking, that I want you to be a critical thinker, and he always used to say, like, keep your head on a swivel, like, keep your wits about you.
Yeah.
He used to say that all the time, keep your wits about you, and I'd think about that, not really knowing what it meant. But being, like, a critical thinker, like, I don't think a lot of people do that. And my dad, when I was old enough, when I was 18 or whatever, he said, like, when I was raising you, I didn't focus so much on, religion and stuff like that. I just wanted you to be able to fend for yourself. You know what I mean? Like, be able to think about things on your own, because I'm not going to be there all the time. So I want you to be able to question everything. Just when you're doing things, ask why you're doing them. Mm-hmm. And, like, that information was going to serve me my whole life. And some people don't get that information to question everything. And so I think I attribute that to my dad, to say, like, question everything. And he knows it, because he was in university all the time. He's technically a doctor, and I've never heard him correct people on it. I seen that on TV the other day. Someone was just like, Mr. Whatever, and he was like, Doctor. And they're like, Doctor Whatever.
Yeah, that's when I was at the call center, some people were like that.
It's just like,
oh, Mr. Barker, and he was like, Dr. Barker.
Yeah, it's just like, oh my god, the ego. And I've never heard my dad correct someone on that, but
that's
yeah,
good.
he was a very learned person, and, like, that was the biggest piece of information that he tried to pass on, was be a critical thinker.
He sounds like a wise father, man. That's a big issue with the whole, just make sure nothing bad happens to your kids.
Yeah, protecting them.
Yeah.
Protecting them from everything.
You want them to be safe,
Ignorance.
or you want them to be strong.
Yeah, just ignorant people, and you see all the time. Well, and I ask people all the time, Christmas, any of these holidays that they celebrate, anything that they actually do, I'll ask them, like, well, why do you do that? What do you do for Easter? Well, I get this, I get some candy. Why do you do that? Are you going to pass that on? Do you know what you're doing? Like, have you thought about what you're doing with your body and your time and your money? Like,
yeah.
And a lot of them haven't. But maybe that's just the people I'm surrounded with, so maybe I need to go to university so I'm around like-minded people.
I'm sure they'll filter their way in.
They got to.
They kind of have been.
Yeah.
I mean, that podcast I did with Nikki was awesome. Just talking to her about her experience. It's been one of the few podcasts so far. What's that?
And university?
No, not just university, but just life and becoming a yoga teacher and all those things, and our different philosophies, and going back and forth with it, and challenging each other's ideas, like, little bits at a time. And but it was just like, she's another person in the world who's actively trying to learn, better herself, become healthier, become better, become a better person in all these different multifaceted ways, and seriously asking all these kinds of questions. And it's just so good to be around people like that, and to have conversations with people like that, and spend time with them, see how they react to different situations, see how they get through things, see what they do in the run of the day, and ask them what motivates them to do all those things, and what their philosophy is, and how they treat people, and it's great. I'm sure. I mean, there are people out there that are obviously inspirational people, and yeah, I definitely want to be around as many as I can too.
Yeah.
I feel like you and I have been kind of I don't know, it's I'll just speak for myself, I guess. It's like I've been personally on the tail end, I think, of this most recent phase. I feel like I'm kind of coming out of this crazy, like, young, early 20s, fucking high, drunk, drinking all the time, crazy partying, crazy traveling, crazy expedient, youthful misadventure, and so now I'm kind of like spinning out of it. I'm like, okay, like where am I going actually? Like where am I headed? What do I want to be doing? What could I spend my life doing that would, motivate me to get through life and get through all the tragedy that's going to unfold? Like, my parents are going to die, and I'm going to die, and people I love are going to die, and get sick and hurt and all these other things that are going to happen.
And how am I going to set myself up so I can deal with that?
Yeah, exactly. And so I've been going through this kind of process of trying to refine baby steps at a time these little things, and well, there you go, just information, I guess.
Yeah.
How do we get on that? Oh yeah, so being around people who are trying to do that same kind of thing, it's like it's been happening more and more. Like, been meeting new people all the time, and it's great. But I definitely feel like I've moved away from this other scene or group of people that I was around for a long time, and I'm not trying to say it was bad or anything by any stretch.
Yeah.
But I just feel like I'm kind of on my own, moving in a different place now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's slow though. It's like it's those kinds of personal transformations take years.
Yeah, and I think they happen naturally.
Yeah. If you're like a healthy person, they would naturally happen.
Yeah, it's exciting, man.
It really is, It's like I feel myself getting further and further away from childhood. You know what I mean? It's like this is the furthest I've been away from I get this image of like having a little desert island and you swim further out into the ocean a little bit every time. It's like this is the furthest away from like safety and childhood and the ignorant paradise of youth. And it's like it's the most daunting, all-consuming task, but it's life itself, and so it's just that whole like, okay, it's not about me anymore. It's turning into more about other people. I'm thinking about family of my own more, and all these different more grown-up things, and it just feels natural. It's like I used to scoff at the idea of people who used to be hippies having like families and careers and stuff, but now it's like, oh, okay, I was just stupid. I didn't understand.
Makes total sense.
It's like, oh, that just happens. It's part of aging.
Yeah.
And so, do you want to stay like a kid forever and just like never become anything substantial, or do you want to like let that part of yourself die, move forward, and then, well, hopefully, if it goes well, Jung would say that the proper way to spend the last half of your life is like reawakening or going back to find the thing you lose when you mature from childhood. But I feel like there's probably a way where you can like maintain a good amount of that.
Try and maintain
you can maintain that sense of humor and that curiosity and stuff if you play it right. But
I'm excited because I don't feel like I'm drowning anymore, in the sense that like when you're first out on your own, you're just like a newborn kid thrown into the ocean. Bills, taxes, blah blah blah. This is what you got to do. This is and you're just like, shit. Oh fuck! Like I'm barely keeping my head above water, and then but like once you really like get used to the whole swing of life, which I think we're at that being on our own long enough now, where you're like, yep, job, bills, regular sleep, eating. That's no longer a fucking thing I got to worry about. I've got that like a routine where that gets looked after, where now I can think about what book I'm gonna read next, how I'm gonna improve the community, and like. You're no longer drowning. You can actually like you got a fucking boat and you're sitting there and you're like working on your desk and you're like, all right, what can I draft up next? What's the next idea to help the community?
I think that's fucking totally right, man. And because a lot of people make the case that like, oh, we should have been taught to do our taxes and taught how to budget and do all this stuff. It's like as if we would have fucking listened.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
We were kids. We were fucking so.
I'll hold on to this for next year.
Yeah.